Welcome back. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh met his Chinese counterpart, Admiral Dong Jun, on the sidelines of the SCO Defence Ministers' meeting in Qingdao. Singh's visit was the first to China by an Indian minister since the Ladakh border standoff in 2020. The Defence Minister stressed the need for both nations to sustain a positive momentum in ties and avoid adding new complexities. He called for a permanent solution of border demarcation by rejuvenating the established mechanism on the issue. Singh also briefed his counterparts about India's Operation Sindoor against Pakistan's terror networks. The meeting took place after India refused to sign a joint statement at the SCO meeting as it diluted the country's stand on cross-border terror. This was because the document failed to mention the Pahalgam terror attack but included the Jafar Express attack in Pakistan. The meeting ended without a joint communique due to Minister Rajnath Singh's refusal to endorse the statement. Addressing the SCO meeting, Rajnath Singh reiterated India's firm stand against terror and said that peace and prosperity cannot coexist with terror. In a veiled reference to Pakistan, the Defence Minister said there should be no place for double standards at a multilateral forum. Joining me now to discuss this and more is former Indian Ambassador to China, Ashok Kantha. Ambassador Kantha, thank you very much for being with us. I'd like to begin by asking you, what is the big message that Rajnath Singh tried to send out to the Defence Minister of China on achieving de-escalation at the border?
Basically, we are reiterating a message we have been sending to China ever since we had Chinese transgressions in eastern Ladakh, leading to the status quo being disturbed. We have been conveying to them that the relationship can be taken forward on the basis that neither side will seek to unilaterally disturb the line of actual control. As you know, we have formal commitments from both sides reflected in many agreements. So Raksha Mantri was telling his counterpart, Defence Minister Dong Jun, that that's the minimum expectation from our side. As Minister of External Affairs has stated repeatedly, state of the borders reflect the state of relations. This linkage, sometimes the Chinese side does not accept, but we are quite firm on that.
And what is the current state of play at the India-China border right now in terms of larger relations? China is also putting informal economic sanctions on India with rare earth magnets.
What we have achieved after a period of sharp deterioration relations following what happened in Eastern Ladakh in 2020, we have managed to stabilize the borders through a disengagement that has happened. But the subsequent processes of de-escalation of troops and de-induction of troops hasn't even started. So border areas are not normal at this point of time. We have heavy deployment from both sides. It's risky, which is not desirable. So that's one area we have problem. Secondly, there are a whole lot of other issues which are there. You referred to recent decisions by China to impose restrictions on export of certain items to India and others. For instance, rare earth magnets, which are very important for the auto industry. We are facing difficulties. And there are other areas where we have large dependencies on China, and China has a habit of weaponizing those dependencies. So I would say that today we have started the process of rebuilding relations, but we have a long way to go. A reset of ties is not obviously on the horizon because of problems which exists in the relationship.
We have seen Pakistan getting support from China during the Indo-Pakistan conflict. How is China challenging India in the region?
Operation Sindoor, especially, the Chinese behavior during 87-hour conflict caused a lot of anxieties in India. During past conflicts in 1965, 1971, or 1999, Kargil, they had extended diplomatic support to Pakistan, but they never got involved in the battlefield, so to say. This time, we see evidence of battlefield collusion, apart from the fact that 80% of inventory of Pakistani army now is of Chinese origin, which were deployed against us. There are other indications that Chinese were actively supporting Pakistan. For instance, Peto satellite navigation system was deployed. Possibly they were sharing satellite imagery with Pakistan. And also, one can see the element of, sort of interoperability, sharing of doctrines and tactics. So what we have today are really not two-front situation, but one front with Pakistan, reinforced by China. And looking ahead, we are worried that the Chinese will double down on their military support to Pakistan, not only through provision of military hardware, but in other ways as well.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh did not sign the SCO declaration because it diluted India's stand on terror. What does this say about the current nature of ties between India and China?
Parikshit, that illustrates, kind of problems we have in the relationship where China is the current chair of SCO and was hosting this meeting. As chair, you have a fair amount of control on the outcome document. They not only allowed reference to developments in Balochistan with certain implicit insinuations, but could not persuade Pakistan at least, or perhaps they wanted to go along with that themselves. A reference to Pahalgam. There can't be a more open and shut case of terrorism. 26 innocent persons being killed in cold blood after ascertaining their religion. This was an act of terrorism. China not going along with that was not helpful at all. As their behavior during Op Sindhu was not helpful. And I think Raksha Mantri did the right thing by conveying that they will not be part of the joint statement. And since in SCO, joint statements are based on consensus, so there is no outcome document. But let me add that this is not limited to SCO. I think there's a broader pattern of relationship where China has not been helpful to us in furtherance of our aspirations, in addressing our concerns and interests, including in our neighborhood in South Asia and now increasingly in Indian Ocean region.
All right. Thank you, Ambassador Kantha, for joining us. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Global Eye. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Welcome to a special edition of Indianomics. The world is in the midst of several global skirmishes. There is the huge Middle Eastern conflict, two of them actually, in Israel and Gaza, and Israel with Iran. We also have, of course, the major global trade war going on. And today I have with me an expert who will be able to disentangle and help us understand all these skirmishes and questions far more clearly. I have with me Martin Wolf, the chief economics commentator with the Financial Times. Needs no further introduction. Just a word of thanks to the NCAR for allowing us to make this happen. Mr. Wolf has been invited here for their India Policy Forum. Thank you very much, Mr. Wolf, for joining us.
It's a great pleasure.
Well, first up, we're all fixated with July 9th. The April 2nd reciprocal tariffs took all stock markets down. Now we are just a few weeks away from July 9th when supposedly those reciprocal tariffs will reappear. Hardly any country has been able to sign anything with the United States. So should we expect another major downturn and crisis, or will it be taco?
First of all, I think the crucial thing is I don't know. And I have a very strong suspicion that nobody knows except possibly Donald Trump, and I suspect he doesn't know either. So we're making guesses. So there are things we know. It was never going to be possible. It was absolutely inconceivable that America would be able to reach deals which were concrete deals within that period. It's never happened in the history of trade policy. It normally takes years to complete a trade deal. Think of how long India and the UK have been doing it, many, many years. The idea that you could do it with 200 countries or even 100 countries in 3 months was complete fantasy. On the other hand, I think